Welcome back to Beach Chair Chats. My name is Brian here on a warm Wednesday in June. I think it's starting to get warm here. Um, and I have a wonderful guest today, Ann Zuccardy. How are you today, Ann?
I'm well. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. And you're an avid beach fan, which
Yes, I
is,
am.
and you sent me some wonderful pictures too. It looks like it was a family. Is it the Point O Woods Beach in Connecticut? There's a lot of
Yes,
stories
Point O
about that
Woods.
place.
Yeah.
Yeah, so tell me about a little bit about that place. As your childhood has been part of your family. Give me some stories about it. Send me some wonderful pictures too.
Oh gosh. Yeah, so it's Point O Woods. It's in South Lyme. It's just the next beach over from Rocky Neck as you're heading west, but it's a small private beach. And my family has been there for 5 generations and counting.
Nice.
And the place hasn't really changed. I'm 64 years old, and it really hasn't changed in those over 6 decades that I've been there,
Yeah.
and even since my mother was there. Um, so it's kind of fun because I think it's just one of the safest, most fun places in the world for a child.
Hmm.
As you know, Connecticut beaches don't have big waves, and
They do
Point of
not.
no different. So it's a great place for little kids to play and go crabbing. And um, the streets have a 15-mile speed limit, which is strictly enforced. So you don't have to worry
Mm.
about traffic or anything. And I just remember when I was a child, I would just be out from 9 o'clock in the morning till it got dark at night. Just popping home for a sandwich for lunch and dinner because we had to.
Yes. It was like basically once the sun goes down, you're home, right? In theory.
Yeah.
No, as now you're a mom too. Is your daughter have the same ambition? Like, should she like to be out doing the
She
same
does.
things?
My daughter was born in Vermont, so she grew up in a New England state where there's no ocean.
Hmm.
But she grew up with really good memories there. Especially with my father always played with her. One of the pictures I sent you is a picture of my daughter sitting next to my father, who's buried up
I
to his
see that.
neck
Yeah.
in sand. And that picture always makes me laugh. But so from a very early age, she knew how to swim, and I taught her how to go crabbing and how to pick up the crabs in your hands, and so she has loved it forever.
Well, for me, I'm not a native New Englander, so I grew up in the Midwest. So, I was landlocked for 30 plus years of my life, right? And now, where I live now, and I think you told me you had a kind of special meaning behind knowing, right? Where there is too. It's like a hidden gem in Connecticut. Everyone goes to Mystic, which is totally fine, right? Except for
Yeah.
right now, all the motorcycle people come rolling to Abbott's. It's a thing. It's like a parade of motorcycles now. So my peace is disrupted, but it's like a special place, right? And not being native to this, even like born here, there's something magical about the ocean, right?
Yeah.
And as a child, and still have this love for this, as a writer, right? You are a writer, quite
Yeah.
accomplished writer too, as well, and all different genres of things. Do you find this has inspired your writing? This having this love, having the memories, even as a kid, you started writing at the age of 6. Did this influence your writing?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because my happiest memories of my childhood are on the beach.
Mm,
And mostly at Point of Woods, but my great grandfather lived in Noank, so I know
mhm.
that area well too. Um, but even just talking with you over the course of the last few days, getting ready for this podcast, I found myself telling you these stories
Yeah.
that I haven't thought of in a long time. And as a nonfiction writer, um, these stories are really important to me. I study memoir specifically. And so, as a kid, I thought that everybody had experiences like mine. I had no idea.
Mm.
But you know what they say about kids and hindsight and all that stuff.
Yes.
Now, as an adult, I realize how lucky I was to have
Hmm.
grown up in that part of Connecticut, and it is really nice to talk about these memories because they do influence my writing a lot. I never know when I'm going to use a scene from the beach in an
Hmm.
essay that I've written. So that's, yeah, it's really fun.
And that's the thing. You made a good point there. As we get older, we reflect back on our time as kids. At the time we were children, like this is cool, but then there's a point we go through these stages where it's not as fun. Like I'm not gonna bury grandpa in the sand kind of thing. I'm not gonna do the crabbing. It's not as cool anymore. There's a phases, but I think as we get older and we look back on our life and say, being fortunate to have this, this private beach, to have these memories and to be able to create these memories also for your daughter is a wonderful thing too. And there's so many stories. I always find it fascinating from not being from New England. I always think of the history of New
Mm.
England. And there's not great history, in New England, but there's so many stories. And when you look at the ocean, I always think how many stories are actually on that body of water? Ships that have come over. Who knows what's happened, in those places. Do you ever think about those when you think about writing and just think of
I
stories?
do, absolutely. Even as you were saying that, I was thinking about Herman Melville and Moby Dick, which is,
Hmm.
incredibly long book to get through, but the whaling experience was so much part of that area of
Hmm.
Connecticut, especially Mystic. And my great grandfather in his retirement actually worked at Mystic Seaport.
Hmm.
And that was a huge part of the stories they told, the whaling stories. He worked in the cooperage, so he explained barrel making, and he lived to be 98.
Nice.
And yeah, that's what he did in his retirement years. And he used to get like fan mail from all over the country for talking, just
Mhm.
telling about the history of that area. So
Well,
I'd much rather hear a story like that than read Moby Dick, I
yes.
guess.
Well, fun fact, I did a part-time job at the Mystic Seaport Museum when when I moved down. It's like, well, when I during the summer, I don't have a lot of extra jobs and stuff because it slows down. It's like I need something else to do. So I worked in the ticket counter, but I got to go into the seaport for free, and I got to see all the things and got to do the tours because I was an employee there. So I got to learn a lot about New England through my job there for a short stint for the summer. So it was fun. Plus,
Yeah.
and a discount to the I got a discount to the Seaport Aquarium as well, so that was good.
Oh,
So
very.
I know perks, little fun fact, right?
Yeah, I like
Um,
it.
so you, as obviously growing up here, and then you're now between two places, right? You're in Vermont, where you're currently at right now, and also
Yes.
Maryland, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm in Vermont now, very close to the Canadian border.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been here for 34 years,
Mm-hmm.
um, which is like more than half of my life, I just realized.
Yeah.
But I also live part time just a little bit north of Baltimore
Mm-hmm.
in Maryland. And I feel really lucky about that too, because I feel like I get the best of both worlds. I get the city life that I
Yes.
crave and the culture and the museums, but then I can come to Vermont and just not speak to anyone for 5 days or so, and it's really very refreshing. So when I come to Vermont now, it always feels like a vacation.
Well, you can always joke too that you're so close to Canada, and just in case the world goes downhill even more, you're really close. So you can just like, I'm out. So, especially
Exactly.
being close to DC and Maryland, I'm sure you have moments like, sometimes the city life is that. So how does that change, right? You go from the city busyness to the quietness of Vermont. What does that do for you too when you think of being a writer? Does that stimulate your creativity when you get out into the quietness and stillness of nature? And
Absolutely. I mean, both environments inspire me. And I think it's kind of like I feel like I have to have one to appreciate the other, if
Mhm.
that makes any sense. Like, Baltimore is gritty and vibrant and creative, and I love Baltimore. A lot of people
Mhm.
badmouth it, but I love it. And and then when I come to Vermont, I feel like I appreciate it more
Mhm.
because I'm not here all the time anymore and I see it through fresh eyes. Like I'll drive around. This is what I did yesterday. I'll just drive around and take pictures of mountains and
There you go.
streams. And I mean, everything is just so photogenic. And people tend to be a little more friendly here because
Mhm.
they know me because I've been around for a long time. And it's
Yeah.
also Vermont.
Everyone's friendly in Vermont. I've been there a few times. Most people are friendly. I mean, it's
Very much so, yeah. And so when I go to Baltimore, I bring all of my friends maple syrup from Vermont, and then when I come from Baltimore to Vermont, I'll bring Old Bay. I don't know if you
mm,
know what that
the
is, a spice.
seasoning, right? Is that the seasoning? The Old Bay seasoning?
Yeah,
Yeah. Is that for like the crab
Old
cakes?
Bay
No.
seasoning,
Yeah.
or I don't know, just something Baltimoreish. So it's kind of it's really fun, and people say, "Oh, is that really hard for you? It's an 8 hour drive," and I it doesn't bother me one bit. It's a beautiful drive because, I go up on the New York State Thruway through the Catskills, and I
Hmm.
have my favorite spots where I like to
Of course.
stop and get something to eat and take pictures. So,
What's one of your favorite spots?
oh, in the Catskills, Storm King Art Center.
Some games. All
It's
right.
Storm King. It's an outdoor sculpture garden, and I
Okay.
don't know how many acres it is, but if I'm always attracted to sculpture gardens and botanical gardens and that sort of thing, so I always hit that one. Also, the walkway over the Hudson,
Okay.
which is I think it's sort of at the foot of the Catskills. You can walk over this bridge over the Hudson. That's pretty
Mm.
cool too. So, I'm always finding new places, but
What's one?
Storm King is my favorite.
I haven't been to the Catskills. I like to, for me, since I'm again not a native, I like to explore when I can. Sometimes I take, I quote call mental health days, like day trips. Instead of working, I replace it with something different. And so I've gone to the city. I made the mistake once, like I want to see Central Park, and I made the mistake of wearing flip flops, which is stupid,
Oh no.
beyond stupid. And got some great photos because I like to take pictures as well. As you see me post online, lots of photos, excessive amounts of ocean. But the thing about New England is wonderful because you're accessible to everything. You have the cities, you have mountains, you have the country, you have Canada far enough far away, and the oceans, of course. So it's just like you have everything at your fingertips. And so it's like you don't have to really go on vacation. However, you're a big traveler,
I am.
right? And
Yeah.
so you do lots of according to what I've read about you, is you go to lots of obscure places, just random places, they're probably off the beaten path type stuff. What's one of your most favorite or your favorite place? But also know there's a story with your traveling too that's not such a positive one. We'll talk about that in a little bit. What's one of your most favorite places to go?
Oh gosh. I think my favorite places would be a tie between North Macedonia
Hmm.
and Denmark. And North Macedonia, I love because, I mean, there's so much deep history in the Balkans. It's very complicated. I mean, if we think American history is complicated,
Hmm.
like
No.
we've got nothing on that part of the world. But I loved it because it was kind of obscure. A lot of Americans don't travel there, and the food is it's kind of a cross between Greek and
Hmm.
Italian. Lots of fresh vegetables. The best wine I've ever had in my life, and it's really, really, really cheap.
That's
And
hey,
the people
Chiefs.
were lovely.
You can't go
And
wrong
the
with
people
cheap.
are just lovely. I mean, it's definitely like you see a lot of like old school Yugoslavian communist buildings,
Hmm.
which is actually adds to its charm. But I love that, and I also love Denmark.
Hmm.
In Denmark, people bicycle everywhere and they
Oh yeah.
walk everywhere, and like the bicycle traffic is amazing. And I just wish we could see more of that here. But the people all looked very like I don't know if it was from all the bicycling and walking, but everybody looked so hearty and healthy and
Healthy. Yes.
really tall. And I'm pretty tall, but like they were really tall.
Well, that's like my heritage is from Amsterdam, so the Dutch. And so we have, if I had my mother's side, I would probably been like 6'7", which would have been cool in sports in high school, but I would have probably hated it in my now at my age. So I'm happy to have my dad's side of the Dutch Swedish side, not the full German on my mom's side, because I'm only 6 foot, which is manageable. Okay, so I don't stick out like
Yeah,
a sore thumb, which is great, and clothing's not hard to buy, and my body doesn't hurt as
exactly.
bad. If I was 6'7", to carry that around would be a lot. So, but you also have a story too. I saw some of your TEDx stuff too about one of your trips, which led to a life-changing story. Was in German. Was it Germany in 2011?
That
You had
was
that.
in Germany, yes. So I was in Germany in 2011, and the night before I was supposed to go home, I went to take a shower, and so I could get up early the next day and just go to the airport. And I
Mm,
fell in the bathtub,
mm,
and we thought it was just like a minor concussion.
yeah.
But over the course of days after I got home, it got worse and worse, and I was garbling my sentences and
Hmm.
vomiting. And I just remember thinking, oh gosh, this can't be how it ends for me.
It was like in the
But
shower.
happy ending, I
You made
survived.
it. You
And
survived. Yes.
it was a life-changing
Hmm.
experience because I couldn't go back to my full-time job here in Vermont. I just couldn't do it anymore. And I was invited to give my first TEDx talk in 2013, and that talk led to so many other things, to teaching
Hmm.
opportunities and speaking opportunities. And um, I I had no ambitions ever to be a speaker because I'm very much an introvert, but
Mm.
I found that I
Me too.
really liked it. I liked telling stories, and I liked being on a stage. And I learned a lot during that time. I called myself an accidental neuroscientist because I
Yeah.
just read everything about the brain and
Hmm.
neuroplasticity, and started studying how humor impacts brain health and
Hmm.
learning. So I studied a lot of therapeutic humor, and it just like, I don't know, it just kind of blossomed into this thing for me that I never
I know.
expected.
But through tragedy creates this sense of opportunity. Who knew? Right? Humor's
Yeah.
good. And the brain too. I love the brain. I have a bunch of books behind me about the brain. It's one of those
Ooh,
things. One of the neuroscience class I took in college was a hard course, but it's just fascinating to see how it recovers. Right? And you think about it, I always say the brain's the most impressive thing on the planet, but also the weakest in the same. Like it can, like you said, you can be functioning fully one small thing right there and it just resets. Right. But
yeah.
the beauty of it is through therapeutic techniques, humor, anything you got to do from to get yourself back to where you were. It's just amazing how it does its thing, right?
It's so cool. And this whole idea of neuroplasticity, that our brains, we can rewire them
Hmm.
over the course of a lifetime, is really cool. Because, I remember growing up in the 70s, people thought that your brain was formed the way it was going to
Hmm.
be at a
Mm-mm.
certain age, and there was not much you could do about it. So I think neuroplasticity gives us a lot of hope. And
Hmm.
if we're open to trying new ways of doing things and potentially looking silly doing
Of
them,
course,
because
silly's
it is
great.
awkward to break those connections and try things in a new way, then it can be a beautiful thing. So I went and got a master's degree after this brain injury,
Hmm.
just to prove that my brain still worked pretty well. And but I still have issues with aphasia, where I can't
Hmm.
get the right word out, and dizziness and lots of other things. But I've learned to adapt, and I'm actually retired now, so I'm in a whole new phase now.
So what does retirement look like right now?
Oh my gosh.
As I
I
as
retired
I
2 years
working,
ago in
yeah.
2024. I was working down in Maryland for the Department of Defense, or whatever they call it now,
I don't
as a
know.
technical writer. And again, the brain stuff started coming up again, just staring at a screen all day. And it was really messing with my head. And
Hmm.
I was in a good financial position. So I thought I would retire and get another master's degree
Hey, why not?
just for fun. And
Just for fun.
I thought that I would be writing a lot. I would spend my days just sitting and writing, and taking
Hmm.
naps and stuff like that.
Sounds wonderful, actually. Yeah.
But what happened was I started dog sitting just casually for some people I knew. And then I put up a dog sitting profile on Rover, which is an app you can
Hmm.
hire dog sitters through.
Good name. Yeah.
all of a sudden I became a professional dog sitter, and I've been doing this for 2 years. And there's this part of me that's like, oh, you're not doing, anything befitting your education. But then I'm like, but dogs, I mean, like,
Dogs are
how
wonderful.
therapeutic is that?
They're
I
like the
mean, it's
best.
just,
Yeah.
it's so wonderful. So I have a pretty booked schedule now with dog sitting. Sometimes I stay at the dog's house, and sometimes
Nice.
they come to my house, or sometimes it's just a little walk. But I love it. So I have decided that my next big piece of writing is going to be a memoir based on
Okay.
what I've learned about life through dog sitting.
Through dogs. I would love that'd be a great side gig because where I live in knowing, right? So I can't have a dog where I live. I don't own the place. I'm a renter. I'm one of those people. And everyone has dogs, and I swear the official mascot is not a black dog t-shirt here. That's the Vineyard, right? It's like the golden retriever. Everyone has a golden retriever, and it's not fair because they're like some of the most loving and wonderful dogs. And every time I go for a walk, there's just one named Shanti, which means peace, which I've learned.
Yes.
And the owners are very nice people, and the dog is like the friendliest dog I've ever met. And then there's another dog. Again, I probably know the dogs more than the people. Right, there's another
Yeah.
like a Newfoundland. His name's Odin. The guy's like I think the guy's name's Tim or Tom. I don't know what his name is actually, but I know Odin. There's a gigantic brown Newfie that looks like a small bear, and he just lets him walk around, and it's and there's a
Oh,
couple. Why can't I think of the name? It's it's gonna come to me later. They don't look like Saint Bernards, but they're black with like a white face. You would know this
like
as a
a
dog
Great
person.
Dane, maybe?
No, 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 no.
No.
Alaskan something. I don't know. It's gonna come to
Oh,
me later. Yeah, I don't know.
okay.
It's bad that I can't think of it. I love these dogs too, but they're wonderful. So yeah, and there's a woman in my village. Her name is Angie. She's in her 90s, and she's a tiny little white dog. It's like her best friend, and she walks around with her little dog. So yes, dogs are wonderful. So I
They're
get
the
my
best.
fix.
Yeah, so my dog died 5 years ago. He lived to
Hmm.
be 16 or 17. We weren't sure how old he was because he was a rescue.
Hmm.
But right now, sitting at my feet, you can't see her, is my daughter's dog. Her name is Cricket. My
Cricket.
daughter lives in Boston, and as you said, it's so easy to get to Boston.
Hmm.
So I am dog sitting for Cricket. I brought her to Vermont with me, and she's sitting at my feet, chewing on a bully stick as we speak.
As quiet as a cricket right now, almost.
She better be quiet.
She just start barking and chirping, like, "Wow, you are like a cricket," constantly. Um, So, no, this is a good, I think this is great for you for retirement, right? I mean, because it brings you happiness. Because a lot of times people retire don't have plans. I've seen this with
Yes.
people that don't make plans for retirement. And then sometimes it just sneaks up on you. You're not planning for it, and all of a sudden it hits, right?
Yeah.
And it kind of goes to show you there's a movie with Tom Hanks. It never gets a lot of love. It's called A Man Called Otto. I don't know if you've ever
Oh,
seen it with Tom Hanks, but
no,
there's
no, no.
the opening scene. He's like this older guy in like worked in a factory for many years, and he is retiring. There's a scene where they have a cake with his face on it, right? And of course, all these young people who came in to replace him, they like cut the cake down the middle through his like face and celebrated. And he's just like grumpy, right? And he
Yeah.
went through a lot of losses. It's kind of a tragic, but also a feel good movie too. Doesn't get a lot of love, but it's the idea of retirement. Like, what do you do when you're all done with all this stuff, right? You put your
Yeah.
life's work into this. You write. You work in the Department of Defense or Department of whatever it's called. Um, I'll stop right there because I don't want to. But it is a beach. If I was at the beach right now, I'd say what it is. But I'm trying to keep it PC. Um,
Yes.
but things change, right? And now you're at this new chapter of your life as a good storyteller, a new chapter, right?
Yeah.
And what's after, even with the dog sitting, and what's the next thing for you? Big adventures, big trips, big.
Um, let's see. Well, this is not very grandiose, but I think what's really calling to me right now is going back to the things I loved as a child, the things that
Mhm.
sustained me. And one of those is playing the piano. I
Okay.
started playing piano when I was 8 years old, and my family, my dad's side of the family, the ones that lived in Noank area,
Hmm.
are all very musical Italians. So I can remember these
Of course.
family gatherings. We're sitting around the piano. My grandfather's playing, my great grandfather and my father are singing, and it's just so that has always given me a lot of peace. When I was a kid and all the other kids were out playing sports, I was playing the piano and
Hmm.
and knitting.
And also, you're a
I wasn't
violinist, a
much of a sporty
violinist
kid.
too, violinist too as well, or a piano and violinist.
I play the violin too. I started the violin when I retired,
Hmm.
and I'm not very good at it.
That's
I had
okay.
to pick the hardest instrument. I should have picked like the guitar because at least I could see where my fingers are supposed to
Yeah,
go.
I bought a guitar during COVID and it's still in the bag. So I bought
Yeah.
it cheap off Amazon back in the day before Amazon was bad. Um, well, you know what it is, but I bought it for like $80, cheapest guitar there was. But the piano, wonderful instrument. One of my two favorites is the cello and the piano. So only one or
Yes.
two is great. I love the
Yes.
cello. If I could do that, and plus you get to sit down with a bad back like mine. I'd rather just sit and play the piano. Don't make me stand up and hold the violin.
Yeah.
But I like that too. And did you have, now speaking of Italian, did you have like the large Sunday dinner thing as Italians
Um,
do? I mean, I don't know. I'm not
Not really.
Italian,
It was
so
more
yeah.
like Christmas and
Yeah.
Thanksgiving kind of stuff. It wasn't a very large family, but
Mm,
we did. There was always music, and my grandfather, Grandpa Zuccardy, he was one of those people who can hear a song and know how to play it on a
hmm.
piano. I
Okay.
can't do that. I have to
Yeah.
see the sheet music in front of me. But he would just have his old timey Reader's Digest book of songs. And
Nice. Reader's
we
Digest.
sang more Irish songs than we sang Italian songs.
Well, probably
But
more
those are some
fun.
of my best memories
Yeah.
from that side of the family. I've also taken up stained glass. I've been making stained glass
Okay.
in my retirement, and I've just been picking up the equipment I need little by little. I just
Hmm.
finally got myself a used glass grinder, and stained glass is really not easy.
Yeah, I can't imagine. I mean, it's probably a lot
It's
of
a lot of
challenges.
work. So, yeah, my work is still soldering is not my strong suit. So, yeah, I really have to work on soldering. But yeah, the first piece that I made in stained glass looked like a 6 year old made it.
Hmm. That's
And I was going to
okay.
give it to my daughter for Christmas. It was a Christmas ornament. And I cannot give this away. It's
Oh,
awful.
yes,
So
you
I've
can. It's not
taken it
awful.
apart and I'm
Come
trying to
on.
put it back together the correct way. But I'm still very much a beginner.
Well, I think this probably ties into who you are as a person, right? As a creative person, right? Your whole life you've been creative. You've been inspired by creativity from just nature itself, by what it does for you to stimulate you, right? Like I always talk about like a sunrise, right? You talk about the creativity that you can't even emulate that, right? And I always say if you take time just to watch the sunrise happen, the details, right? And I think you're a person who appreciates those details and the little things, whether it be playing music, your photography, stained glass, right? Whatever you're
Yeah.
choosing to do, this is where you thrive. And I think it's important for people that we live in a world that we do of being like, we always say locked in and plugged
Yes.
into stuff to learn how to unplug. You talk about the brain, right? Sensory
Yeah.
neurons. When we're online, our sensory neurons aren't firing, right? Text-based
Yes.
communication does not create that. And so you have to stimulate your mind on a daily basis. And so I think one of those things is being creative and doing those things.
Absolutely. And I think, I try to do that every day. I try to draw or write or play music or whatever it is. I try to do something different every day. But one of the challenges I've had with that is that I am very much an overachiever. And so
Hmm.
I feel like I have to overachieve at stained
Yes.
glass. I need
Perfectionist.
to do this. And so I will, like, it's kind of ridiculous. Like, I schedule myself, yoga's at 10, and then at
Hmm.
11 is stained glass, and then at 12 is and I like, I'll look at my phone and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is just like when I worked.
Wow. Why?
Why is it so hard for me to just say, okay, you don't have to prove anything.
You
Slow down, take a deep breath. So I'm really working on that. That's a work in
slow it
progress
down.
to
Yeah.
feel like I
Well,
don't always have to be productive or achieving. And being in Vermont helps me with that. And being
we
in Connecticut on the shoreline helps me with that.
we don't want the joke of being retirement, meaning retire. Like I'm tired yesterday, now I'm
Yes.
retired today, from yesterday. So you don't want that to be the case. You got to learn to slow it down, right? You're at that stage. You've worked hard for your career. You've done all the work.
Yeah.
You can give yourself the flowers, pat yourself on the back for a career well done. And now it's a chance, like I said, to reinvent yourself. Who knows? Maybe you'll have a podcast in the future, and
I
yeah,
don't know. That sounds
it's
scary.
it's a learning process. I sometimes have no idea what I'm doing, but that's okay. I'm learning too. I like to learn this concept of storytelling because I love stories because
Yeah.
I'm meeting people that I've never met. And it's
Yes.
wonderful because there's so many great stories that people share. Lots of people in this world, lots of stuff that they share, just people doing some great things. And just it's a lot of fun actually to do it. So I'm enjoying it as much as I possibly can. So, but Anne, it's been wonderful having you on today. And I hope you enjoy that time in Vermont. Get down to
Thank you.
Connecticut, visit, maybe swing by Knowing, and
Yeah, we'll grab a beer.
it's a great place. And it's been wonderful again having you on today. And I hope you take care of yourself.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Brian. It was wonderful to chat with you.